Tiller.
Here.
Wolf.
Here.
Gibbons.
Here.
Harrington.
Here.
Duker.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Smith.
Here. And so all rise for a moment of silence followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. Pledge of
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Agenda item 1, consent agenda. Approve this agenda, pay the claims as submitted, approve the treasurer's report for April 2023. Corey?
Second.
Larry?
Tiller.
Yes.
Wolf.
Yes.
Gibbons.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
Recording in progress.
Abstain.
Johnson.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Weeks.
Yes.
Thank you.
Item 2, approve the minutes of the May 2nd, 2023 regular meeting of the council.
I'll make a motion. Second.
Nick and Dale.
Weeks.
Yes.
Tiller.
Yes.
Wolf.
Yes.
Gibbons.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
Duker.
Abstain.
Johnson.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes. Item agenda 3, public forum. 2 minutes, please state your name.
Anybody here for public forum? Just me. It always amazes me the amount of people that don't participate in their government. My name is Jess Lammers. First and foremost, I'm not intimidating. You're intimidated. There is a difference. I'm not mean or aggressive. I'm honest and assertive, and that makes you uncomfortable. In fact, it's not even me that makes you uncomfortable. It's my presence that challenges your comfort. But I won't make myself less for you to feel better about yourself. That being said, I think there's too much red tape in this town. So, not to speak on any agenda items, I think that when a city wants to use the business wants to use a sidewalk, the city's sidewalk, there should be a short form, kind of like a liquor license. Y'all amended your codes and let it work out so Dane and Chris can accept a phone call and short form approve a liquor license. Y'all let people drink with little to no approval or insight, just have a good time. But you got to get this special permission to use the sidewalk. Now, I would think as a community, if you trust a business owner, they have insurance, all that stuff's already going on, and you already have that on file, shouldn't you be able to just draw a little picture, make a plan, say we're doing it from this time to this time on the sidewalk, not including the street, that would need police or roadblocks from, I don't know that guy's name, but anyway. If y'all give a short form liquor license and the state gives a short form liquor license, shouldn't you give annual approval for using the sidewalk or some kind of short form to reduce the administrative red tape? And that's really the only comments I have, because my other comments will fall under public hearing for redevelopment of Section 6. Thank you for your time.
Anybody else for public forum? I'll close public forum at this time. Item agenda 4, adopt resolution 2023-07, amending City of Holdrege redevelopment acres, removing parcels or tracts of land that no longer qualify as blighted and substandard. Do you need to read that? No. Okay. So, I'll accept the motion to adopt it.
I'll make a motion to adopt resolution 2023-07.
Lola. Second?
Second.
Ben?
Wolf.
Yes.
Gibbons.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
Duker.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Smith. Yes. Leith.
Yes.
Tiller.
Yes.
Thank you. Agenda 5, open public hearing to receive comments on recommendations to declare certain areas on the east and west sides of Hill Street between 14th and 18th Avenue to be known as redevelopment area number 6 as blighted and substandard.
Making public comment?
Yeah, I got it.
Go ahead.
Hello, I am Doug Christensen. I work for 5 Rule Rural Planning out of Kearney, Nebraska. And we were hired by PCBC to conduct a blight study up to the north edge of town. And so that's what I'm here to talk about. So, I don't know if you have paper or digital versions of
Just
this.
digital.
Well, on page 2, that's where I'm going to begin. On page 2, this is just a general overview of why we have community redevelopment law, sort of the reason behind making these, having these blight studies. Page 4 this is the list of criteria that we look at when we conduct this blight study. We don't make the criteria up. We just look at the state statute and break it into a list, and then we look at this area to see if the criteria are present. So then on page 5, this is just the legal description of the redevelopment area that we were looking at. Page 6 is an area map of that area. And then we get into the specific criteria here on page 7. And so, beginning with the substandard, we only needed any combination of these 6 criteria, so a minimum of 2. And we're going to go through each one individually, hopefully as quickly as possible. I want to be respectful of your time. So, dilapidation, this factor is not substantial within the proposed redevelopment area. Deterioration, the condition of the streets showed some signs of deterioration. You can see in the photos below that there were some signs of washboards and lack of drainage. On page 8, with age or obsolescence, to be considered aged, the average age of structures within the redevelopment area needs to be at least 40 years old. And really there's only one structure within the redevelopment area, that's the strip mall with the Holdrege marketplace, and according to the Phelps County assessor, that was built in 1976, so that's 47 years old. On page 9, the conditions that endanger life or property by fire and other causes. Under the other causes, there was no sidewalk system within the redevelopment area, so there was no safe pedestrian transportation. And then page 10, inadequate provision for ventilation, light, air, sanitation, or open spaces. This factor is not substantial. And then high density of population overcrowding. This factor is not substantial. So of the 6 that we looked at, we were able to find 3, and we only needed 2. So we concluded this area is substandard. And then on page 11, moving into the blight criteria. So a lot of this is going to be repetitive, just because that's the way the state statute was written. But in blight, it is separated into 2 categories of criteria. You have the subjective factors and the objective factors. Of the 10 subjective factors, we needed any combination, so again, a minimum of 2. And then of the objective factors, we needed at least 1 of the criteria here. So subjective factors, substantial number of deteriorated or deteriorating structures. This factor is not prevalent. Deterioration of site or other improvements. There was a lack of adequate curbing in this area, and curbs control the flow of stormwater and traffic. You can see on page 12 where a lack of curbing has contributed to deterioration of the roads. Page 13, existence of defective or inadequate street layout. This factor is not prevalent. And then faulty lot layout in relation to size, adequacy, accessibility, or usefulness. As it relates to accessibility, there were no ADA accessible curb ramps on the sidewalks or curbs within the area. Also, the area to the north of this redevelopment area, there was no public access to this vacant field. Moving on to improper subdivision or obsolete platting. This factor is not prevalent within the area. Insanitary or unsafe conditions. Again, the sidewalk system, there's no sidewalk system. Diversity of ownership. This factor is not prevalent. Tax or special assessment, delinquency exceeding the fair value of the land. This factor is not prevalent. Defective or unusual conditions of title. This factor is not prevalent. And then existence of conditions that endanger life or property by fire and other causes. Again, the lack of sidewalks, curbs, and ADA accessible sidewalks. So that's it for subjective factors. For the objective factors, unemployment in the redevelopment area is at least 120% of the state or national average. This factor is not prevalent. The average age of the residential or commercial units in the area is at least 40 years old. As mentioned before, the average age of the structure was 47 years old. More than half of the plotted and subdivided property in an area is unimproved land that has been within the city for 40 years and has remained unimproved during that time. This factor is not prevalent. The per capita income of the area is lower than the average per capita income of the city in which the redevelopment area is located. This factor is not prevalent. And then the proposed redevelopment area has had either stable or decreasing population based on the last 2 decennial censuses. According to the 2020 decennial census, the population of this area was 0. Because you can't get lower than 0, we decided that it has had a stable population. And so that's it for the objective factors as well. So of the subjective factors, we needed only 2, and we found 4. And then the objective factors, we needed 1, we found 2. So this area also meets criteria for blight. That's all I've got for the blight and substandard portion. Do you have any questions?
I see that it says on average, the age of the buildings, 40 years. There's one building in question there that's over 40 years. The remainder of the houses, I mean, how do they fall into this category? There's 3 brand new ones built in the last 8-10 years.
There were 3 houses within this area.
Not in the area, just next to it.
Right.
So is the area, so you're talking about inside this yellow outlined area?
In this specific
Okay.
redevelopment area.
Very good.
There's only that one structure.
Thank you.
When you guys do a study like this, does the contracting company asking for the study, do they give you the outline of what you, or how do you guys determine what sections you're actually going to look at?
In this case, PCDC did give us the area that they wanted us to study. Go ahead.
Well, that's what I was wondering, how do we get the mall area in there, like with the marketplace?
Exactly.
Yeah, that was
I mean,
on PCDC's request. I don't know what they want to do with that.
I mean,
Something wrong with talking about.
I mean, we was talking about just the other, and now we brought this up, that's why it's kind of,
I can address those
good.
things. PCDC owns the 26 undeveloped lots that lie behind or immediately to the west of the Shopco building. And we wanted to add that area in to a redevelopment area so that we could attract a developer to build houses in that area. So in order to connect it to an existing redevelopment area, we needed to go through the Holdrege Plaza shopping area to get to that. In the end, what the company has done is create a new redevelopment area altogether. Our original intent was to expand an existing redevelopment area to pull that in. So that's how the boundaries of the redevelopment area were originally drawn when we provided that 2-5 rule to do the study. And the structures that are present, the commercial structures that are present, helped us in the process of declaring this blighted and substandard.
Meaning you needed to incorporate those structures in there in order for this to be considered blighted.
Well, and originally, as I said, we were going to connect it to an existing blighted area. But in the end, what the company has done is create a
With the addition,
standalone
yes.
district.
I have a question, being that, of course, I've been at a couple meetings for the planning committee, so I know what they were doing. This in no way causes any unequal benefit to the owners of, like the buildings
No,
right now.
no.
I mean, and this would be a benefit, of course, to the city, for them, that we have the development there, if anything, but.
It will ultimately be a benefit to the community because we'll end up with new houses that we anticipate will start yet this summer. We'll build houses, 13 houses this year on that property, and then another 13 the following year. And so that's the benefit that we're trying to get to here. We have secured an agreement with a developer to build those houses, but it's contingent upon TIF being available to do that project.
And again, no unequal basis, considering that the owners now of the building in the new, where the buildings are, that's blighted
We've
area.
had no discussions with the owner of Holdrege Plaza about the process that we're undertaking to have TIF available in that redevelopment area. They're
Okay.
probably unaware that that's even in the works now.
So this does not affect those buildings
No.
at all?
No, not, they're-
Not where the city's concerned.
does.
they
Does?
will be eligible in the future.
Absolutely. It
Okay.
opens up a window for them to take
But-
advantage of it being a blighted area in the future
That's,
for,
Yeah.
that's not the purpose behind
Right.
this request.
right, but that's what it does.
Okay.
Any other questions of Doug or Ron? All right. Do we have any more public comment?
I have public comment. Mr. Christensen, right? You know what scares me? Is you were serious about all this. You paid somebody to do a study that included per capita income, and I know it's required by Nebraska revised statute, but you paid somebody to figure and calculate per capita income on an empty field. You're telling me you didn't know the value of zero was zero? And then we mentioned no public access. Is it private property or public property on the west side of Hill Street? Because if it's private property, well, that would explain why it has no public access. I'm a little bit confused why we paid for a study. I'm a little bit confused why we're giving the J. Noddle Company a whole bunch of tax incentives to get rid of small business and invest in large corporations. Now, this community talks a lot about investing in itself and small business, but y'all don't make informed decisions that show me you want small businesses when you do things like this. And then you got Mr. Christensen over here. He scares me. He read this report with all seriousness. A vacant field that is private property doesn't have curb and gutter. Well, you know what? My vacant field doesn't have curb and gutter either. It's got cows and grass in it. It's in a conservation easement, so I don't have to pay taxes, but that's not blight. That's mixed use. So what your study is doing is giving the Noddle Company a huge tax incentive to create a mixed-use development area, and obviously Mr. Tillery is on board with shipping all of Phelps County's tax incentive and profits to Omaha. Is that Douglas County proper? I like Dundee Bank myself, but y'all do business how you want to do business. I'll do business how it makes me money, and currently you're making me money. You're sending it out of your county, but that's your problem.
Any other comment? I will close the public hearing at this time. Item 6, adopt resolution 2023-08, declaring redevelopment area 6 as blighted and substandard, as recommended by the resolution of the Holdrege Planning Commission.
I'll make the motion.
Ben?
I'll second it.
Lola, seconds.
Smith.
Yes.
Weiss.
Yes.
Tiller.
Yes.
Wolf.
Yes.
Gibbon.
Yes.
Barrington.
Yes.
Euchre.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Thank you. Agenda item 7, open public hearing to receive comment on the general redevelopment plan for proposed redevelopment area 6 as developed by 5 Rural Planning.
So the important thing for me to mention about this is that this is not a specific redevelopment plan. This is just a general redevelopment plan. So this isn't going to tell you what you will be doing here. This is just saying what you can do. I think Ron mentioned the things that he has planned, but that's not the purpose of this general redevelopment plan. This is just to save Holdrege some time and resources when it comes time to sign a redevelopment contract. Because a redevelopment contract, when it comes time to do that, will be signed as an amendment to this redevelopment plan. And so this only holds the bare bones of a redevelopment plan. So I'm just going to go through the few components of that here. Number 1, a map showing, this is on page 18 if you have yours.
I'll just vote for me to make money. I don't care.
A map showing area boundaries, existing land uses, and condition of real property in the area. Land use plan showing proposed uses. Statement of proposed changes. Statement about the kind and number of additional public facilities or utilities that will be needed to support new land uses in the area after redevelopment. Information showing population density standards, land coverage, and building intensities after development projects, and a site plan of the area. Number 5 and 6 are specific only to the redevelopment plan, so they aren't here. They'll be included later when you sign a redevelopment contract. So on page 19, this is the condition of real property in the area map. So that's the strip mall right there. It's good. The existing land use map from your comprehensive plan. That also shows your municipal boundary. On page 20, this is your future land use map, also from your comprehensive plan. And then on page 21, so a redevelopment project will be approved as an amendment to this general redevelopment plan and will involve some or all of these activities listed on this page. And so this is the list of things you can do there. And then on page 22, this is just the definition of a redevelopment contract. That's all I've got on that.
Okay. Thank you, Doug. Any questions? No, Doug. Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other public comment? We'll close the public hearing. Agenda item 8, adopt resolution 23-09 approving the general plan for redevelopment for redevelopment area number 6 as developed by 5 Rural Planning and recommended by resolution of the Holdrege Planning Commission. Ben
I'll second.
and Lola.
Weiss.
Yes.
Tiller.
Yes.
Wolf.
Yes.
Gibbon.
Yes.
Barrington.
Yes.
Euchre.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Thank you. Agenda number 9, consider request to use sidewalk in front of Lost Way Brewery for a series of market events.
Hello. How's everybody?
Good. How about yourself, Jessica?
Great. So I am sure you got the diagram of the area that we're going to use, and just a quick rundown of what the actual event is I am working with Betty Sayers to kind of create something similar to a farmer's market, have it open to people who are vending basically anything from eggs, produce, baking items to crafting items, and just kind of have it be an area where people can sell their stuff, but also kind of populate our downtown area with something fun and exciting to do. We're starting off with every Saturday of the summer, so June, July, August. You'll see 3 dates on there. July is not the first Saturday, but the first Saturday of July is like 4th of July weekend, so we switch it to the next Saturday. But yeah, it's hopefully something that grows and builds, and we continue to do stuff like this in the summertime.
Is this, don't we have a farmer's market?
I think this is going to be a different day, isn't
On the
it?
courthouse?
It is,
Thursday,
yep, so the farmer's market's currently Thursdays in the evening, and so this is something just to get, this is gonna be, it's free for all vendors to join. We're just holding it up to 20 spaces, and just kind of trying to shake things up a bit.
Okay, so
Will you be using the street?
We will, so we'll have the vendors in the street. We're also hoping to get a food truck, and then working with a couple local companies to see if we can get some non-alcoholic breakfast beverages there, so things like coffee or stuff like that available as well. Like I said, hopefully it grows into something where we have live music and we have kind of like a just cool outdoor area for people to kind of walk around and shop and have something fun. So
What time were you doing these?
we're starting it at 10 a.m. and it's going until 2 p.m.
Is there a date on this? Am I missing the date?
So there's 3 different SDLs. I submitted them all at the same time. So there's going to be June 3rd, July 8th, and August 5th.
That's what was confusing.
Yeah.
I was like, why is this, it's all the same, this is.
Yes, 3 different ones.
Reading and comprehension.
So is it 3 Saturdays in a row? Or?
It's so the first Saturday of the month with the exception of July. Mhm.
is
So
this
hopefully
some-
we turn it into every Saturday type of deal. This is kind of just the first year and kind of seeing where we can
every
turn it
Saturday?
into. If there's the demand for it, that'd be great, don't you think?
Shut down the street in Holdrege every Saturday?
Maybe we move it to the alley or something, but I mean, there's plenty of communities that do it. It draws attention from outside towns and brings people and money into our communities, so I think it'd be fantastic to do.
So right now it's just the first Saturday.
Correct. Mhm.
We're not approving every one. We're just approving the first one.
I would appreciate if you approved all 3 since they're all the same, but
Who's,
like I said, it's just the first Saturday of the month in June, July, and August. So just 3 dates this year.
Who's doing the fencing?
We will.
Who's supplying all that?
We will. We're going to be using the vendors themselves as kind of the area, and then as well as food trucks to just kind of block everything off. We'll use a snow fence and set everything up.
You see
Will-
any issues?
Should be an issue.
We had quite a bit of interest so far.
Right now I have 12 different vendors that are set up, and they're selling everything from crafted bags to produce to honey, just a little bit of everything. So
And will you be open? Will the Lostway be open?
absolutely.
And you'll
Yep.
be serving,
Correct. So that's what the liquor license is for, is for people to be able to take their alcohol outside if they
That's
want
the
to.
idea.
Essentially, we would still need permission either way to block off the street. So if I'm getting permission, I might as well give people the opportunity to have a drink with them outside.
okay, so my question is, I think normally have we been blocked off by fencing as opposed to the vendors?
She said she was using something.
Oh, a fence as well?
Snow fence.
Sorry, okay. Well, I've
Have
heard-
you-
Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry. I assume you talked to Wagner since it's going to be on
So
Saturdays during the summer months. Which
It'll
is
be off
they're
to
gonna-
the right side of them, so they'll still have access to their private driveway and everything, to their areas. So
But they're gonna lose access to Third Avenue, which is where they drive all their equipment on Saturdays.
I mean, I suppose I can let them know, but
I mean,
I would,
that's not really your problem, but it's common courtesy,
Yeah.
especially 3 Saturdays out of the summer.
Mhm.
Like is probably their busiest time and busiest intersection.
I would like to see a visit with Wagner's, with the insurance company, with the Eagles, with everybody involved, and make sure that they're all on board for this. Especially if it's gonna grow into something every Saturday.
So is that something that you would like to be seen for every event that we do going forward, or? 'Cause-
Yes, usually we do ask for that.
Well, we have to remember, it's not every Saturday, it's
Yet,
one Saturday.
but like we talked about. Yet.
I'm only in agreement that our city does need places for people to come together. I mean, we definitely need that, and I think there's, people will go out, and my suggestion was, I think I spoke with Betty Sayers, and if somebody could sell coffee and donuts and rolls, because women, groups of women go out almost every day in the city, but they go to the main, not that they're not good, but they get together, and they want to group.
I can absolutely change the diagram to where we have half of the road blocked to where it's still accessible for Wagner's taking up, or for them to have access to 3rd Avenue. Similar to what I did for the 5K, we can do half vendors on the sidewalk and the other half basically in the middle, and have the pedestrians attending walk basically on the right side of the, well, south side of the road there. So that's also an option to allow access for that. But
I mean, they do have access there, it's just not all the way through the block, is that what your concern is?
They just have to go the other
Right.
way.
There's no access, you can't use the street at all.
Yeah, they,
To me, most of
well,
their
they can't use
building is
their-
on the
They can't drive
west
outside.
side.
On the west side.
Well, they
They're
have that
gonna
big
come and go on
parking
the
lot
west
right
side.
beside
They're
their
not gonna
building.
Most of their entrances here.
Right, but they don't go that way.
They're not gonna go
I
that
know
way.
them. You drive right in front
I'm
of
not
us.
worried about Wagner's.
I need to, every day, all
All
day.
their links goes through the first Saturday.
Yep, go right on down the road and south.
I'm usually there a good majority of the day, and what I see a good majority of people rolling up to visit Wagner's is they're coming from the west side.
Yes.
And that area won't be blocked off. It will be from basically the east side of our building all the way over to.
And that's neither here nor there for me, I don't care about, it's up to them, I'm not trying to be a voice for them, I'm just saying be considerate to converse with them first.
Well, I like your idea, let's try one. I mean, being that you have
Yeah.
12 vendors
Sure.
already.
We can at least, okay, the first one, then if you want to talk to Wagner's, just.
I'd like
to make
that.
sure. And then.
See how they go,
back
see
and
how it
that's
goes,
fair.
yeah.
Yep, so once we get all of our summer schedule, what I planned on doing was basically giving all of our neighbors a list of all the things that we have going on this summer, and that way they have dates and times and an idea of all the events. But getting approval is one step before letting them know something's happening and then it doesn't happen. So
I would
that's the
make-
way I like to approach things personally.
I would like to make a motion to approve the weekend of June 3rd.
I'll second that.
Dale?
With you then coming back to get
Yeah.
Yeah,
permission
I'll
again
have to come
to,
back to the rest of it.
just
Yeah,
to,
just for the last two. I don't think we need to do it every.
what is the first meeting in June after that? When's our first meeting in June? The sixth? Oh,
It would be too late, so, yeah.
We have a motion and seconded.
I'll second.
It's already.
Oh,
Yeah. Dale?
for first.
Tiller.
Yes.
Wolf.
Abstain.
Gibbon.
Yes.
Harrington.
Yes.
Euchre.
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
Weeks.
Yes.
Thank you guys.
And Jess, I just want to say, when I was questioning whether or not you'd asked, I was looking at this wrong. I don't have any problem with that. I think you should maybe just talk to him, get just courtesy.
Yep, I usually
But
do whenever I have an event
I was
going
seeing
on.
it a half a block over, but I have no
Okay.
concerns about your layout the way it is
Yeah,
now.
yeah, I usually go and kind of give them a general idea of what's going
Yeah.
on, and they'll
That's good.
ask. If I'm not blocking off the entire street, I won't usually see it as a huge issue. If it's just, our side and it's not a huge deal, I won't really go out of the way to do it, but for an event like this, I planned on
Yeah.
letting them know what's going on.
I should be fine.
In the future, it'd probably be a good idea to talk with them prior.
I'll keep that in mind.
Thank you, Jessica. Item 10, approve Blake Fusner, not at this time, as a new member of the Holdrege Volunteer Fire Department. I think everybody saw the letter. He's been a firefighter here before, he's left, and now he's back. Third generation. I think this is, again, another really good addition to the volunteer fire department.
I'll make the motion.
Nick and Trent.
Weiss,
Yes.
Tiller,
Yes.
Wolf,
Yes.
Gibbons,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
Euchre,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Smith.
Yes.
All right, thank you. I believe, I don't know if it's on your agenda or not, the next item has been rescheduled. Two Rivers couldn't make it tonight. So we'll move on to agenda item 12, consider the establishment of a Veterans Memorial Committee.
Good evening, Mayor, Council.
Good
It's been a long time since I've sat here. How are we doing tonight?
Doing good. How about yourself, Mark?
I'm doing all right. So, a few years back, before I left for a while, the previous mayor had asked me to join the Veterans Memorial Committee to try to get a veteran established. I think the first thing I did was come in here and ask you all to change the name of the park, which I greatly appreciate, and I think it's going well with what we're doing. When I came back, and Ron graciously saddled me with all of the requirements, thanks Ron, of the chairman, I started to think we probably needed to formalize things a little bit better, and I started looking at drafting some bylaws, and I talked with Dane about, you know, getting something I could plagiarize shamelessly because I'm just a Marine and I'm not very smart. Well, it turns out it took a while to plagiarize a bunch of stuff, and we put together some bylaws, and part of the thing that we realized was, you know, we're just a group of concerned citizens basically trying to do the right thing, but the city owns the land, the city owns the monument, the city controls all of the money for it. So really, this group of concerned citizens probably needs to be appointed by the city to do it the right way. From just a control of the money and a legal control of what we're doing, and, you know, being part of the Opens Meeting Act, things like that. So we drafted these bylaws. I think Natalie may have reviewed them, the mayor has reviewed them, I know, Chris has reviewed them. So we brought them to you all to look at if you've got any questions, and then to go through the rigmarole process.
I don't have them in front of me. One of them was in leadership. It looked like the mayor would appoint just the chairman, is that correct?
Yes, I think that's how we had it here. That way the committee has a little bit more control. We send the nominees up here for you to approve, but the committee is the one selecting folks.
Right, and the chairman must be honorably discharged from the military, is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Honorably discharged veteran.
Thanks, John. Did pretty good. Hold my memory. But that would be the only position. Then the membership would select the other members.
Yeah, there are requirements from that aspect of it, but as it is mostly a group of veterans, there will be a preference towards veterans since we're doing things for veterans.
Right.
But anybody who actually shows commitment to the cause will have an opportunity to serve.
Do we have any other questions, comments, concerns? I will consider a motion to establish the Veterans Memorial Committee.
So moved.
Larry? Dale?
Harrington,
Yes.
Euchre,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Smith,
Yes.
Weiss,
Yes.
Tiller,
Yes.
Wolf,
Yes.
Gibbons.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Mark.
Now more work for you.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Agenda item 13, consider the final reading of ordinance 2463, amending chapter 6, article 3, section 6-302 of the Holdrege Municipal Code related to weed removal.
Final reading, ordinance 2463, an ordinance to amend chapter 6, article 3, section 6-302 of the Holdrege Municipal Code related to release regulation, weed removal, repealing all other ordinances or parts of ordinances in conflict herewith, providing for the severability of all parts hereof, and designating the time described when this ordinance shall be in effect, be ordained by the mayor and council of the city of Holdrege, Nebraska.
Motion? Ben? Dale?
Smith,
Yes.
Reese,
Yes.
Tiller,
Yes.
Wolf,
Yes.
Gibbon,
Yes.
Harrington,
Yes.
Hubert,
Yes.
Johnson.
Yes.
14, open discussion. Chief, please.
All right, well, I've been trying to get a pickup truck for us, or a new vehicle. Obviously, it was about a year and a half ago, and I did have one ordered through Jansen's. I've talked to them, it's not even on the queue to be built. So I don't know if you can get it through them, what the process is. I did speak with Anderson Brothers out of Lincoln, who does do the state bid contracts. They have two that would fit our needs coming in within 2 weeks. So I'll probably get that one. And then I will still have the order through Jansen's, and hopefully that will come. I will need another one here this go around too, because we usually do about a 2-year process every other year. And so we are there. And I still haven't got the one from first, that was even approved before I started, so that's where we're at.
Right.
I'll be interviewing 2, hopefully sometime at the end of the month for officer. Other than that, not much else going on.
Certified.
The certified guy dropped out, so no, unfortunately.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Excuse me. Talked to Joe Johnson, who's working with Ron on the development of the houses for the project up there on Taggy property. They plan to have a redevelopment contract to Natalie and myself to review this week, and then we'll move forward and start working forward towards the TIF for that project. That's all I've got.
Thank you. Nick.
One, thanks Mark for all the hard work you did on that. I know how much of a pain in the butt it was. A lot of long meetings to do it, so something that needed to be done. So thank you. Other than that, that's it. Ben?
I just want, since Mark brought it up, I'll just piggyback off it. The Veterans Park, I've had people last year comment about it, the condition of it. And even this year, I've already had people comment about it, like just the overall care of it. Like, do we take care of that park the same as we do the North Park? Are the funds the same?
Yes.
Okay, because I don't know if people don't notice, but if you walk around the Veterans Park, the grass, the stickers, it's way worse than the North Park. To the point where kids don't want to play on it. My kids don't want to play on it. And that's fine with me, but there's a lot of other kids that could play on it. So if the budget's the same, can we look a little closer into it to see where we're lacking there? Because it's really a shame. We're putting all this money and stuff, we're building it up more, but still nobody can enjoy it because of the condition. And that's all. I just think we're putting a lot into it. We should actually have it as enjoyable as our other park. So that was it.
Thank you. Trent.
Had some comments about a letter that everybody that lives along the highway frontage received a week ago. Boy, my ears were on fire for about a week. A lot of people with very well-kept properties feel very offended that they received any kind of letter, knowing that so many other properties are in such disarray throughout the town, let alone on a highway frontage. I'm just concerned and want to make sure that letters of this type don't just target people along the highway so that Holdrege could put its best foot forward along the highways, these letters, if we're gonna do this and send them to everybody, let's send them to everybody. And make sure that we note in there that the majority of the properties that are in town are in very good condition. People are proud of their property, take good care of their houses, and do their thing that they do every weekend or every night, keep everything trimmed. But there are those that do not. And there are several that were very offended by the letter that they received, thinking that they were being targeted.
We weren't targeting anyone. We sent it out to everyone, both directions. And the process for some of the other properties will be actually a little harsher than what we sent to the people along the highways. I mean, I've talked to a few people that live there and said, they were like, about the letter, and they weren't really offended by it because, I mean, we didn't word it in a way that was directing any offense or negativity about it. It was just asking people to continue to keep their properties up nice. So the other process, the people will be tagged with a big bright green or orange tag on their house with the ones that are in really sad shape. So yeah, we're blanketing the town. It's not just.
I'm just letting everybody know what thoughts were conveyed to me.
Well, if they'd like to talk to me about it, I'd be more than happy to talk to them.
I'm surprised that you didn't have your door knocked.
I think Kim had one person talk to him, and I had no one come talk to me. So I'd be more than happy to discuss it with anyone.
I tried to get them to knock on the door.
Can I ask how many letters were sent out?
Do you have the exact number, Kim?
I don't have the exact number. I think it was like 91 going east and west, and possibly 86 going north and south, something like that.
That's it for me.
Okay, thank you, Trent. Yep.
Yeah, I don't really have anything. I received the letter. I live on Burlington, and I guess I didn't take it that way. But I suppose people could. But I didn't really feel that way about it. I guess I just feel like we're trying to take a step to improve our community, and I think it's a step we probably have to take to get going.
I agree, and I didn't either, but I'm just conveying those.
Yeah.
Need to take things.
Yeah. So,
that's all.
Thank you, Dan. All right.
Nothing.
Stacy? Lola?
No, other than to the point for any of the letters or properties, it's really important for people to understand that it's not targeting anyone. We're a community, and we need to take responsibility to uphold not only our ownership of our homes, but to keep the community growing. And it takes time. Change takes time. So that's it.
Well, thank you.
Natalie?
Nothing from me.
Kim? Nothing, sir. Ryan?
I don't have anything.
Okay. Eric? Okay. Before we leave, I would like to acknowledge Caleb Erickson as the Officer of the Year that was awarded last Thursday, Wednesday, Tuesday? Thursday.
Please tomorrow.
So congratulations to him. Let's make sure we convey my
I will.
thank you. I appreciate it. And with that,